Hello. Bad me. Bad me. Here we go. Okay. I don't know. I got this like giant microphone now. It's like supposed to like really help. Hang on. I'm like trying to get this like adjusted. There we go. Technical difficulties, technical difficulties. I'm in my dungeon. So something happened at my office today, so I'm like, I can't do it there. So here's the scoop. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to be talking about what the top 10% of realtors are doing right now, which is one of my favorite topics. I'm super excited about this. Those of you who don't know me, and my name is Gillespie. I'm the CEO of Red Apple Coaching and Consulting, so I'm a business coach and sales coach as well. And also equally, I'm the creator of Game Changer and Girl Abundance. So super awesome. Just wanted to give you guys a quick Facebook Live today. I know we took a couple weeks off because I really wanted to think about what we could really be doing on these Facebook Lives to help grow your business to the next level. So I came up with this great one. It's basically the top 10% of agents. And those of you who know me know that the number one thing that I do is I coach the top 10%. So that top 10% of business owners, I can tell you what they're doing right now, especially in real estate. So I have a fun one that I'm just going to launch in. There's 13 things, and we've already posted a nice little thing afterwards, but there's 13 things. First one is that they're hoping that you all get out of the business. So I hope you like that one. They hope that you guys are getting out of the business. And what I mean by hoping that you guys get out of the business is really kind of interesting, is that the top producers in the industry right now, they're looking around and they've been through this before. Okay, they've been through shifty markets. They know what it takes. So my other 12 points are the things that they're doing. But the number one thing to remember is this. Most of those top producing agents who have actually been through this before, and those are the teams that have been in business, I would say 15, 16, 17 years plus, they are totally ignoring everybody else, and they're just going, you know what? We know that there's going to be 30 to 40% of most salespeople are going to get out of the industry. It's going to be a big landslide, because the difference is that I'll tell you right now, they know how to work hard. Okay, people who've been in the business a long time, especially through shifty markets, they understand the concept of giving everything they've got. They're not mentally weak at all. Okay, they have this superpower that I don't think you can actually have if you've only been in the business through good markets or easier markets. We call it fat and fed markets. If you've been through only fat and fed markets where it really hasn't been a huge amount of effort for you to succeed in the sales industry, real estate would be one of them. For the last, I'd say, more than 10, 12 years, it's been fairly easy. So if you're really looking at fat and fed, that's a good industry to look at. For about 12 years, it hasn't been like this. Even the recession in between wasn't even that hard. So those realtors who have operated companies through major changes, or teams through major changes that are in excess of 15 years old, those teams know, like those CEOs got it. They're wired to succeed. So they're ready to go. They've put everything on the back burner. They're like, hey, we were fat and fed for over 12 years. It's time for us to get back to what normalcy is. And so that's something that we're seeing happen quite a bit. So they're hoping, number one thing they're doing, hoping by just focusing and not paying attention to everybody else, they're like, you know what? They're hoping you guys get out of the business. Okay. Number two, they're knowing the market. And I think this is a really interesting one. They're knowing that the market adjustment means that they need to adjust their efforts. So the top 10% really look at that. They say, listen, if sales have dropped 30%, they're actually increasing their efforts 30, 40, 50%. They're not waiting. They're not waiting to, we're like, oh, I'll wait till the sales suck. They're way ahead of things. Okay, so they're super, super ahead of things. And they're really saying, if the market's adjusted, they're adjusting the same percentages. That is one of the things that they're very good at. Okay, they're kind of like if you're in a storm and you need to adjust the sales, they're not waiting for the storm to hit. They're preparing in advance for that, which is really just an amazing behavior that we see happen all the time. So I think like just from that perspective, you'll see that they have the ability to adjust really, really well. Even case in point, we know where the market's heading, so we're adjusting our business plans. We're not laying people off or anything. I'm an abundance thinker. This is like a huge opportunity. What we are doing is we're saying, okay, we need better content. We need to do different things. We need to do some programs that are a little bit different, more applicable to where everybody needs help. So we're adjusting our sales to apply to what's coming down the pipeline, okay? Next thing that they're doing, they're following up on every single lead. When I scream that, which I really wish I could, but I just don't have the voice today, they're following up on every single lead. So what you're seeing is that a lot of people are just going, oh, what do I do? Where do I find business? There are no stones unturned. They're going down to like last year, the year before, no stone unturned. If there's any follow-ups or any outstanding leads, they're going hard on follow-ups. Okay, it's all hands on deck. So no lead left unturned. Even dead leads that you call dead leads, they're going hard on those ones. Number 4, they're doubling down on education to the public. Okay, when the public is confused about all the stuff that's happening in the real estate market, which by the way is running rampant. The amount of people, I mean, I can't even believe this. For every given post, it's shocking. I'm like literally gobsmacked. I love that word. I don't even know what gobsmacked means, but I think it sounds really good. I'm gobsmacked. Sounds like somebody just punched me in the face. Anyway, okay, so I cannot believe how many real estate agents are out there saying that when the rates go up, prices go down. And they're out there posting it, saying, hey, this is a great time to buy. It's fantastic. When the rates go up, prices drop, so this is a great time to buy. Wait a second, did anybody look at the statistics that were reported in almost every market in Ontario for September? Did anybody look at that? Anybody? I coach a lot of clients. We have over 900 clients right now in real estate. I will tell you, we are seeing multiple offers in many markets. Many markets. Okay, so I'm not really sure why that everybody seems to think, but it's confusing the heck out of people. So the education of the public is really where these great top 10% of agents are leaning in. They're watching that. They're like, if we keep saying that message and that narrative, it's hurting the sales of the people who are saying it. Because if you're promoting that, what you're essentially doing is you're slowing the market down by telling people that when rates go up, prices go down. Typically speaking, that would be true, but we're having a supreme supply issue. There's a massive supply issue. 33% of listings, or 31%, sorry, of listings have dropped down in most respective markets, which means that if you still have a supply and demand issue, you're just making it worse. Okay, every politician should wake up and realize that, but the truth is that when you have a housing crisis in Canada in excess of 3 million houses that we need in the next 7 years, and there's no plans to replenish them, and you're doing everything you can to make it worse, then guess what? Prices aren't going to plummet out. They can't. It's just physically impossible. Okay, the demand will always exceed what we have available if that happens, which will hold pricing. So you have to kind of look at that, right? So you're seeing the messages, and the top realtors in the industry, they're doubling down on education of the public. They're doing really high-end webinars. They're not spending their time on things that aren't true or accurate. They're really looking at the numbers, and they're giving the information that is very much true about today's market, applicable to today's market, all of the above. Okay, so you're seeing like a whole different conglomerate that comes with the education. But like I said, I'm a little gobsmacked looking at all these different opinions of real estate agents, and then it's at the end of the day, you're like, is anybody checking the statistics that were published a week ago? Like, is anybody? Because like at the end of the day, there's a really interesting story that's coming down the pipeline that you have to watch out for. Okay. Number 5, all hands on deck with new clients. Most of the clients that were in the big teams that we coach were saying every single person should be hammering out 3 new clients a week until about November 1st. That's, we want everybody to have about 18 clients as they lead into November to keep themselves in a really good position for what we're seeing is coming. Okay, so most teams are all hands on deck with new client acquisition. What they're not spending their time on is things that they could be working on in December, pretty handwritten notes, shit like that, okay? They're not worried about things like that. This is emergency room time for a lot of them as they're prepping for some big changes over the winter season. That's why they're not going out of business. They look at this as a major opportunity, and they're going, okay, everybody, all hands on deck, 3 clients a week, let's do this. They're coming up with call nights. They're coming up with accountability partners. They're pushing results, okay? Next thing, scripts. All right, most of them are working on their skills nonstop. In this market, they're spending about 45 minutes per day working on scripts and content to educate their teams and themselves up to a different level. Okay, if the markets are changing, so does what you're doing. So you really need to have the right content behind everything, but you also equally need to have the right skills to maneuver a market change. Most of these top producing agents work so diligently on the skills that that's what they work on. They're like, what is the best script for objections? What is the best script for people thinking next year's going to be better? They're never, ever testing it on their clients. They're preparing in advance, probably about 5 days a week, 45 minutes a day. They work specifically on skills to make sure that their conversions are higher. Next thing, number 7, they're not slowing down for those who can't keep up. Okay, if you have a team or an organization right now and you have a couple people who are not doing what they need to do and they don't understand that this is not a fat and fed market anymore, this is a market condition where you have to work really hard. If you have people in your organization, or these teams have people in their organization, they're not stopping for them. Unfortunately, they're moving on. They're like, see you later, I gotta keep going. Okay, so that's another thing. Another thing, they're staying away from negative people. Okay, there is a lot of water cooler talk Tons of water cooler talk. It's slow, it's this, that. If you notice, you won't find the top 10% of producers hanging around the water cooler complaining about the market conditions. They don't want to be around negative people. Okay, very important. They are programmed to get through tough markets because they're changing markets. So you're adjusting yourself in these markets. They're not impossible markets, they're just adjusting markets. So the truth is that their positive mindset is really important to them, so they stay away from negative people. Or anybody who sees it a different way, because they're very capable and aware that all the people who are say they're struggling, they're going to provide you zero mental strength to get through this. Zero. So I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know why you would even associate. Like, I sort of sit down, if I'm training for an Ironman or if I'm training for something important, why would I want to be around somebody who's always saying that they're struggling with running, or they're always struggling with swimming, or they're always struggling with cycling? I don't want to be around that. I don't want to go out cycling with somebody who's like, every time it's windy out, it's so hard, I can't do this, this is impossible, I'm never going to be able to do it. Why would I? That will give me no purpose. It will just get programmed in my head, because everything we hear multiple times gets programmed in our head. So the reality is that most of these top producing teams and owners, they don't hang around with people who have a negative perception of what's happening. They're very abundance thinker, which means that they like to surround themselves with abundance thinkers, and it keeps them charged up. Okay. Number 9, they see the optimism in the market. That is a big one. Okay. How you see things is totally up to you. You can look at this and go, oh my God, it's terrible. It's not terrible. This is actually amazing. I'm in a province in Ontario where there's an extreme housing crisis. I don't know why that would ever be terrible. Okay, people are sitting on great equity in their houses. The rates aren't so crazy. Like, I understand it's an adjustment period, but let's get real. This is not the worst thing that's ever happened. Okay, it's just a period that we have to get through. It's optimism in the market as opposed to negativity. Next thing, know their numbers. Every single top team owner that I coach and work with knows their numbers like the back of their freaking hands. Okay, so they know it. They know exactly what the team's doing. It's Monday. They know who did open houses yesterday, how many people showed up, what was the feedback, what was the conversion, how many leads did they get, or how many listings appointments did they book. They're on it. They know the numbers religiously. They know them really well on any given day, because there's no room for error at this point. Everything is very time sensitive as we head into the winter season, and with all the rate changes that are coming down the pipeline, so they're aware of the numbers on a regular basis. The next point is they know the market numbers. One of the biggest things that again, it kind of goes back to my gobsmacking comment, is I can't believe, honestly, guys, there's so many realtors out there who are posting information without any accuracy. They're seeing somebody else's post and somebody else's post. It's like, what are you doing? Know your market's numbers better than anybody else. What's the absorption numbers? How many days of market? Did the listing inventory drop by how much? What is it year to year? What about prices? Have they gone up? Have they gone down? What about condo segment versus resale residential segment? What about new home developers? Where are they? Like, they know everything about what's happening in the market. Okay? It really blows my mind away how I went forward with some of the challenges that the new home construction is having in the industry. And most of my coaching clients were like, what? And I was like, wait a second. I found a gap that they didn't even see. And they were like, what? How did we not see that? And they're frustrated because they didn't see it. But they're busy doing all the other numbers. They know the market numbers like the back of their hands. You can always tell who knows the market numbers and who just makes a post saying, here's the market stats. Do you actually know what those market stats mean? Do you understand it? Or are you just doing a social post going, well, the market's done da-da-da-da. Be cautionary. Know what those numbers mean month to month and how your business should be adjusting accordingly to them, and you'll see some huge changes. Top 10% always knows their numbers and knows the market's numbers, and it makes it a little bit easier to navigate things with. Next thing, they move into 10 out of 10 accountability with their coaches. So someone like myself, almost 90%, we asked every single coaching client of ours in October, we said, what are your 3 top goals? How accountable do you want to be? Almost 90% of our coaching clients came back to us and said, give us a 10 out of 10. Okay, we work with the best, and the best is like, we want to be pushed really hard to this. And I'm like, oh, crap. Okay, that means a lot of work on our end, but that's okay. Anyway, so we push aggressively. In October, we have pushed nonstop. Text messages, emails all the time, really just like, no, there's no excuses. You set your targets. We're going to hold you 10 out of 10 accountable, but they want it. The top 10% doesn't resist it. They don't get frustrated with it. They don't get angry with it. They stand up and they go, give us 10 out of 10. We don't want 10 out of 10 in January or maybe even December, but for the month of October, give us 10 out of freaking 10. They're like, we do not want to live in a period of excuses. So the accountability, majorly massive, very focused, massive. And then the final one that we notice is that they watch their conversion. Okay, if you're not watching your conversion, most of the top 10% of realtors that operate these great teams or super successful single agents in the top 10% echelon, they know what their conversion numbers are. Okay, so they're not slowing down and they're not going, okay, you know what, I got to find more leads. It's like, no, they know if you've fallen below 60% in this area or whatever the case is, they know that that's not okay. I work with an amazing team, one of the top Zillow teams. And they're absolutely fantastic. And you know what? I'm always blown away with them. Every week we're on 5 different conversions. We're always looking at 5 different conversions as a team. And if one area of conversion slips below the target that they have set for themselves, and the target is up here, by the way, you would die if you saw what the targets were. You would just die. Anyway, if any of those numbers fall below a certain number, we are on it. Like, we are on it. We had an answer ratio to leads that was a problem a few weeks ago. We decided to create a duty roster for all the leads. So we came up with this cool idea, and I showed it to them, and I said, why don't we do this? They implemented it. We saw a 22% increase in 2 weeks. We saw a 22% increase. Zillow came to us and said, way to go, guys. You guys crushed it. We saw a problem. We addressed it as a team, created a duty calendar. It was brilliant. A little bit of work, but it was brilliant. Saw that increase of over 20%. So I mean, like, that's huge. That's called conversion. When you're aware of what your numbers are, then you're aware of where the weaknesses are in your business and where you need to get better. If you're not hitting 3 appointments a week or 3 new clients a week, then you have to know that your conversion isn't working. Either you've got a ton of leads and you're not converting, then we got to get better at that, or you don't have a ton of leads and we're actually, you need to convert better on your lead generation so we can get those clients. So again, those are the 13. We posted a post here just to let you guys know. I just want to say thank you. Remember, guys, crush it. Look what the top 10% is doing and ask yourself, what of those 13 are we actually doing? And see what results you can get when you actually do that. And then I think you'll see it's quite epic what you can actually get from it. All right, guys? All right. Well, listen, my batteries are dead here, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to log off, but I should.